Hello, my name's Carl. This is my backyard, and so welcome to Carl's Backyard. A couple of things to look at this morning. I got some hibiscus blooming. I think some of these are actually on their way out. Some of them are just opening up, some of them are closing up. However, there's a lot of hibiscus. Most I've had all at one time. I'm happy. There's still some buds getting ready to open. So the hibiscus plants are doing good. You can see there's the red one, the yellow one behind it. There's the blooms from yesterday, so they're not going to open all the way. They're going to open up and then curl back up and then fall off here in a day or two. And you see there's some new blooms coming up on it. The hibiscus are doing great. I'm really thrilled with them. I have finally lost most of the impatient flowers in the floating baskets there. I'm not sure if it's just that impatiens are done blooming, or if they were getting too much water, or if it's just a temporary, they're taking a breather. I did do some deadheading a couple days ago to see if that would help. So I don't know if the impatient flowers will come back or not. It does look like there's some new blooms on the orange one over there. I lost one color on each. There were two plugs of one color and one plug of the opposite color between the two planters. And the one planter lost all of its orange, the other planter lost all of its purple. So that was kind of interesting. And I'm waiting to see if they come back. I don't know if they will or not. I might have to look into that and see if it's worth leaving them in there or if they're pretty much spent. I know they're annual, so they won't be staying there over winter. If they're done blooming, I might wind up replacing them with something else, or just pulling them out completely, or just leaving them in there because the foliage is still growing. But over here in the wildflower garden, which I did finally get completed enough for today, or for this year, it's officially done enough for this year. So it's been 4 or 5 days since I threw seeds in, and I don't know how you can tell, but the side over here, on this side of the path, has little shoots coming up everywhere. On the other side of the path, not so much. Now the other side of the path over here does have shoots coming up along the back row, and I'm pretty sure along the back row I went pretty heavy with some sunflower seeds. And I may have done the same thing over here, figuring that bridal bouquet bush isn't going to bloom again this year. It blooms really early in the spring, and then it's just a green bush. So it's possible I threw sunflower seeds down in the middle, just because I had so many. The seeds are at least 2 years old. I got them at least 2 years ago. And the wildflower seeds are a year older, so they were 3-year-old wildflower seeds that I threw down. So I'm not sure. There is some green coming up over there, so I'm being optimistic that it's wildflower and not just weeds that were still there from when I put the dirt in and tilled. That's what it's called, tilled over it. It's hard to see, and I can't really show you because I haven't cleaned up the dog wastes in the yard yet, and I don't want to zoom in on dog waste. So let me see if I can crop it out. There we go. It's hard to see, but the grass is starting to come up here. From a distance, there's a little green haze on the ground down here. So the grass is starting to grow. Wildflowers are starting to grow. The path hasn't fallen apart yet. And probably sunflowers are starting to grow. Don't know how far they'll get, since everything did go down late this year. But with luck, it'll be really cool next year. That's the plan. I'm working on next year. Let's switch pan back around here. I did pick up 2 days ago a couple of new plants, which I'm going to get sorted out today. It's hard to see. Let me see. They're in the sun. So there I've got some Alocasia poly. And I couldn't find, like last year at the end of the season, I saw this plant and was very much enthralled by it and decided I had to have one. But since I didn't have anywhere for it specifically last year, I didn't pick one up, and then it took me forever to find them again. And the only ones I could find came in this pot. I'm not a big fan of the pot. Ceramic pot doesn't have a hole in the bottom. And there is a plastic pot inside that, it looks like. So I'm going to see if I can't pull that out. I don't have enough soil potting mix right now to completely, or to repot it. So I'm just going to go ahead and let me see if I can do that real quick here. Let's see if we just lift the root ball out, and then work the pot out. Work with one hand. The moss that I got earlier in the season from basically the side of the road, not quite so spongy. And I'm just going to put that one there with the other calicages, allocages, because they seem to be doing really good sitting in that stream like that. Gives them enough water, and they're getting enough sun and shade. So they get morning sun, and then in the afternoon this is all in the shade, and they seem to be doing well. You can see the calicages there got giant leaves on them. The allocages there, you got some pretty good sized leaves on them for what they are. So I'm just going to set that one there for now. I'll probably almost certainly wind up repotting it into a larger pot, give it some more elbow room at some point before I bring it in for the winter. And I also got this canna. Let me go back to the canna lily. Got this canna lily. It was on clearance. It's marked down to $3. And it's an interesting color that I don't have. I've got a bright red with orange fringe or yellow fringe. I've got a bright red with no fringe. I've got some. It looks orange from a distance, but when you get close, you realize that it's yellow speckled with red. But I don't have this kind of, they call it. The tag says it's a red canna lily. However, the actual color, when you look at it, it's got more of a. It's not a bright red. It's not really pink, but it's not a bright red. So it's a different color than I already have. I am going to repot this one here and put it up in the wetland filter. The bloody dock that I have up there is dead because I cannot, for the life of me, get bloody dock to live. So I'm going to find a slightly larger pot to put this in, give it some elbow room, get it potted up, and get it put up in the wetland filter along with the rest of the canna lilies. And I'll see you after I do that. Allocated poly, I did find a pot for. Decided that pot would look good there because it contrasts with the black pots that the other plants are in, and it kind of ties into the stone that's right there. I'm not sure about the angle, I'm not sure about the exact positioning. It seems to bother me like it's tucked in too far or something. I don't know, I might wind up fiddling with its placement, but we're talking a couple of inches either way, just to kind of center it more in between the two calicages in front of the banana plant. But there's the Alocasia poly. Hang on, there's an ant biting my hand. I don't know how it got there. There's little ants everywhere. Okay, so that's the Alocasia poly. Did put it in the pot. Fill the pot up with the last of the potting soil I have. And it's sitting there in the stream, so hopefully it'll do good and be happy there. Down here at the other end of the pond, in the wetland, there's the fish. Oh, there's my shadow. There's the fish. They're following me because I think I'm going to feed them. I'm not. I just fed them a little bit ago. But down here, in the wetland, you can see I went ahead and bare rooted. I just pulled it out of the pot and stuck it in the gravel. And the hole that was left over from, when I pulled out the pot the bloody dock was in, the bloody dock's just not really filling. I'm going to leave the bloody dock out to the pond. That's a two-handed pot. I'm going to leave the bloody dock pot out of the pond, see if it does come back. It's got a couple of shoots in there, so I'll leave it out and see what it does in a week or so. Ironically, however, if you come down here and you look at the canna lilies that are going now, I put that one that was labeled red in there, and suddenly it's red. The other one's orange and yellow, whereas before they were red and orange. Put that red one in there, suddenly now they've color shifted because you actually have something red to look at. So there's the canna lily. Like I said, I just pulled it out of the pot, soil and everything, stuck it in, lumped some gravel up around it. Realized that I really do need to get a couple more bags of that gravel. Problem is, every time I put another bag of gravel in it, the water level comes up a little bit. You'd expect the water level to stay pretty much where it's at and just be less water. But no, the more gravel I put in, the higher the water level gets before it spills over the fall. So real quick here while we're looking at this, we're getting ready here in a minute. We're going to move around to the front yard where I'm going to near and dear to my heart are carpenter bees. I don't think carpenter bees get nearly enough credit for being evil. The evil little monsters that they are, I think is very much undersold. The little hole there, right there in the center, the little hole is made by carpenter bee. They'll move into the gable over the front of your house. I'm going to zoom back out because I can't hold the camera straight. But so there's the gable over the front of my house. And there's the other side. And carpenter bees moved in years ago, and hopefully you can hear me over the leaf blower a couple houses down. But carpenter bees moved in a couple years ago, and they left these little holes, little round holes. I don't know if you can see, there's a little round hole right there, another little round hole. I've zoomed in on the other side. So eventually they go in the back, they chew their way through the wood, and eventually they chew close enough they wind up with these little holes on the outside. On the holes on the inside, they poop. And so I've got little carpenter bee poop stains all over the front gable of my house. And then after years of trying to eradicate them using every suggestion we could find off the internet, including the carpenter bee foaming spray killing stuff, finally found something that was effective, and it was a woodpecker. The woodpeckers found out where the carpenter bees were hanging out and proceeded to tear up the whatever that is, the flashing board, the board, whatever that board's called. So they proceeded to tear up the gable over the front of my house. And the wife is not at all thrilled. Wasn't thrilled with the carpenter bees, spent years trying to kill them, get rid of them, chase them off. Tried everything we could find on the internet to get rid of them. Nothing would last for long. We'd kill the ones that were there, they'd just come back. We'd kill the ones that were there, fill the holes with great stuff spray foam, and they'd still just come back. So today I'm going to try to replace the boards. Hopefully they'll come down easy. I'm hoping there's just nails up under the flashing. I can just pull them down. Got some boards around back so I can cut them and paint them and put new boards up. Of course I'll drench the 2x4 that's behind that. If there's any holes in that, I'll drench it with the what's it called? The carpenter bee and yellow jackets foaming spray aside. There we go. And I'll scrub the siding piece that's there and put new boards up, and hopefully that'll keep them from coming back since they won't have existing holes. So here you can see that I've removed the entire facing panel section thingy off the gable over the front door. Pulled the facing boards down, whatever they're called, and just decided I didn't like the way that the paneling up there looked. So we got some new paneling. There's some, actually it's softening. It's interlockable. It looks kind of like siding, not necessarily the siding we have, and it is white. So hopefully we're not going to overpower the front of the house with white. I don't think we will. Well, that was a cheap and easy option, so we're going to go with that. I am going to climb up there. There's still some spray foam up to that I'm going to go ahead and clean off. And I'm going to lightly sand some of the cobwebs and gook off of the facing board along the front edge there, whatever that's called. We're going to do that. I'm going to put up the new, it's softening, even though that's not going where softening goes. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. And so there's the new gable front end piece thing. Turned out pretty nice, I think. It works. Does need to be wiped off and touch that paint, a little bit of spackle to fill in the gap between the center boards. in the center of the boards up there at the peak. Other than that, I think it worked out pretty well. And so there's the new gable. Took a little longer than expected because I had to do everything, you know, one-handed by myself while blindfolded. So there was that. But it's done, and now I can move on to bigger and better things.